2023 was a mother.
Yeah, it was. 2024, you kept using the word stretch, but like all of the things that we've been stretching ourselves on with, however you want to say that this year, man, I feel like it's just teeing us up for a dynamic 2024. Not to say there are not going to be challenges. Of course there are, such as life, right? But I think that this year is just teeing us up for all the blessings that are around the corner that we're going to walk into. I'm excited about 2024. I'm excited about the unknown.
Hi, I'm Peavy.
Hi, I'm Jamie, and welcome to Blank is a Mother podcast.
We are two toddler boy moms that have been best friends since college, and we are here to share our unique motherhood journeys through a comparative lens.
And we all say we're not supposed to compare, right? But clearly we know that's not realistic.
Because the first few years of motherhood shook our lives and friendship like no other experience has.
And by comparing and contrasting our journeys, we've discovered the strongest threads of sisterhood yet.
We don't have all the answers, and we sure have made some missteps.
So we invite you to follow along as we do our best to nurture our friendship while making 1,000 tiny mama decisions in an unfair world.
Hi, I'm Peavy.
Hi, I'm Jamie, and welcome to Blank is a Mother podcast.
Every episode, we fill in the blank with what we want to talk about is being a mother.
Yes. And you know what? Given that we are quickly approaching the end of 2023, and there's been so much going on, good, bad, ugly, all of the above, we thought, let's take some time and reflect on 2023, but not in like a cliche of, what do you want to do better? We may have a little bit of that in there. I'm not going to lie. But more so just keeping it real and just having conversation about what we've learned from 2023 and how we're going to keep this train moving into 2024. So, you ready, Peeve?
I'm ready. I do feel like in 2020, when it was like pandemic, everyone thought, oh, this is going to be the hardest year. And then the next year, oh, this is definitely the hardest year. And the next year, this is the hardest year. But I could confidently say, I think 2023 has been our hardest year as a family yet, despite all the things. So I don't know. I guess it just keeps getting harder.
Amen. You know, we could say it gets harder, or every year reminds us that challenges are just going to keep us on our toes. So, Pete, why don't you kick us off by telling us maybe the most ridiculous thing that you've done or that happened to you in 2023?
I mean, I can just paint a picture of a little bit of the chaos that we experienced in 2023 and then weave in some ridiculous things. We moved out of our house in July to start a renovation, and we stayed at our friend's house who they are away all summer long, and it was total lifesaver. We stayed there for 3 months and uprooted everything, but it was like staying in an Airbnb. So it actually was really lovely, and they saved our asses. So we were very, very grateful. But our house was not done when we came back. We did move back to our property, but we started camping in our yard. And initially we had a van, and then we had a tent, which our neighbors were like, we cannot let you sleep in a tent for however long this is going to be. So they let us use their trailer, which was really, really sweet and generous as well. Because I got to tell you, I don't know that I would offer up my trailer to my neighbor who had a 4-year-old. Just saying. But anyway, that in itself was ridiculous. Just that we were living in our yard, but also our contractors were living in our garage. So we shared one bathroom while we were living outdoors, and we would cook all of our meals with them. They're lovely men. But yeah, we just all kind of had a commune for, I don't know, 2-3 months. I mean, it's still happening. But we did this camping situation for about 6 weeks. During those 6 weeks, we were also going through IUI. And so we were...
Lord have mercy.
We were doing these injections in my stomach, in the van, in the trailer, just outside. It was ridiculous. So that's just little snippets of the ridiculousness, the chaos. Anyway, we're back in our house. We are sleeping under a roof in beds and have full access to a bathroom, which is very nice.
Listen, everybody is not cut out for every scenario. And I will give you all the props in the world that y'all maneuvered that very well with a 4-year-old who was living his best life. He's like, we're camping.
Mm-hmm.
Why y'all tripping? I'm good. We're camping. Your neighbors are probably like, are those needles in the bushes? What the hell is going on next door? Who did we give our tent to? Why are there needles in the bushes? Like, no, it's cool. We're just working on a baby. It's good. We're good.
Which didn't work out, everyone. Shocker. Actually, silver lining, Everett was the easiest part of the whole camping 6 to 8 weeks, however long we did that for. It's a blur. He was just up with the sun and out in the fresh air in the wilderness, just bebopping around, no television, no electronics, and living his best life. And then he would go to sleep with the sun. You know, it was very cool to see.
I kind of love that.
Yeah. He was just in his element. And I thought, this is how kids are supposed to roll. They're just supposed to be one with the earth. Little Mowgli's running around.
Absolutely. Well, man, my ridiculousness is like, it doesn't feel as ridiculous, if you will. John has been in the last couple of years really fixated on visiting all of his last living aunts and uncles.
Yes.
Girl, yeah, you know where this is going. Last year, we had an amazing trip to Jamaica to hang out with John's cousins and family members, and it was awesome. John has an elderly aunt. I think she's a great aunt that lives in, and I'm going to kill it, Gloucester. I always kill that, but in England. Other than going to visit his aunt, we really had no reason or business to be in England this year, you know, but we were like, let's do it. She's getting older. John had conversations with his great aunt and said, you know, been inviting us to come visit. We have a son. I'd really want him to meet you. I'd really want you to meet him. And they conversed, you know, conversations about it. And it's like, okay. And I kept asking, so she's good? We're good? Oh, yeah, we're good. We've had conversations. Cool. All right, great. So we planned the trip. And I have cousins on my mom's side that were actually going to be in London at the same time. So we're like, this is great. We'll spend some time with this great aunt in Gloucester. And then we'll all get together in London and we'll kick it. It was going to be a win-win trip. Thankfully, we planned all these other things. So we get on the plane. It's a long trip. The armrests don't go up fully. So we have LJ and we're thinking he'll just sleep the whole time because we left at like 10 p.m. thinking he would just sleep until we land at 6 a.m. No, that didn't happen because the little joker couldn't lay down because the armrests didn't go up. So we managed LJ. He was a trooper. So we get over there, getting all of our bags, got the kid. We realized, oh, wait, we forgot our stroller, which is really cute to be over there for a week without the stroller. So we just figured out. We get LJ off the plane. We get off the plane. It's a little chilly. So John's like, let me get my jacket. And then he's doing the reaching around like, well, where's my bag? Okay. I don't know. Because we're exhausted because we've just flown 8 hours with the kid that didn't sleep. Come to find out, he left his jacket bag on the plane that also had his laptop in it. So here I'm about to talk trash. I'm like, lose every damn thing. Can't take you out of the house. You lose your head if it wasn't on. And then I'm like, wait a minute, Jamie, where's your iPad? So you're talking about him leaving his jacket bag. Meanwhile, your iPad is on the plane as well. So we're going through all of this. We got to the Airbnb. We couldn't check in. So the driver that dropped us off was like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, you can't check in. All right, well, go ahead and get out the car, baby. Everybody. So all of the luggage, LJ's asleep at this point, which is cute, right? Because he's a 35-pound tank. So I'm going to fast forward through all that because this trip had a lot going on the front end. It ended beautifully. Later that day, I think it was, John called his aunt that, again, we made this trip specifically to go see her, and then we built around it. Called his aunt and said, you know, we're here. We had a little bit of drama, but we're here. And, you know, we were planning on going tomorrow. We had train tickets to go there the next day, had all of our stuff lined up, right? Allegedly, she didn't recall that the conversations that we were coming at all. And then my husband, who is one of the nicest men on the planet, said, well, you know, if we don't want to make you uncomfortable. So if you don't want us to come, if it's going to be uncomfortable for us to come, you know, we don't have to go. Never mind that we spent this money to come all the way over here for this. And she told us, yeah, I think it's better if y'all don't come. Cool.
Wow.
So all this is happening, right? Meanwhile, I'm trying to navigate the fact that I'm tired. So John's like, oh, sweetie, by the way, I talked to my aunt and yeah, we're not going to go tomorrow. So what do you mean we're not going to go tomorrow? So I was in my feelings for a little bit because I'm like, we did all this to come over here. And then I had to remind myself, it's not about you, Jamie. It's not about LJ. I know John is disappointed because he really, really, really wanted her to meet LJ as his father's last living sibling.
That must have been sad for him.
Yeah, I could tell his feelings were hurt, and he was disappointed because he got all of us hyped to go over there. And then we had a whole 6 days on the back end of other stuff to do. But the silver lining, as we talk about that, is that we had a great trip to London and LJ got to go on his first really long plane ride. He did wonderfully coming back. We made friends with the flight attendants. Yeah, it turned out to be a really good trip. And John did get his bag back. He did get his jacket back. He got his laptop back. I did not get my iPad back.
Yikes.
But such is life. It is what it is. So ridiculous, yet we're okay.
Those were good. Those were good.
Yeah.
Okay. This one I think is going to be a quick hit. What is the most adventurous thing you did in 2023? And I know you were laid up for half of it, so you probably weren't out doing too much adventurous stuff, but mine is easy. I can tell you mine and then you think of yours. In February, we went to Kauai with my family. So my mom and her partner, Claire, and my sister and her family. And we all went, except for, of course, like usual, Everett had a double ear infection.
Poor kid.
So my mom took him to urgent care one day, and the rest of us went zip lining, which in my younger years, I would have done no problem. Wouldn't have thought twice about it. But now, I'm afraid of heights. Since sometime in my 30s, I became afraid of heights. And so it was very challenging for me to complete this zip lining. The very first couple ones, I was definitely having like panic attacks and hyperventilating, breathing a lot. And my nieces were really, I think, surprised, but also just laughing hysterically at me. So anyway, that was the most adventurous thing I did. And I did do them all. And it was absolutely beautiful. We were like in this, lush jungle in the middle of Kauai, up in these mountains. And yeah, it was like Jurassic Park. It was awesome.
You just gave me an idea of my most adventurous thing, which isn't ziplining, but for me, this was adventurous. In London, funny enough, they have those cable cars. And that you can get on the cable cars and they just kind of go around, you jump on them. And we did the cable car ride from, let me get it straight, London to, I'm going to kill the name of where we went. But there was another cute little town we went over there for lunch. It'll come to me. It wasn't Manchester? Is Manchester?
Yeah,
I failed geography, y'all. We're going to go with it. I don't know if it was Manchester. But we got in the cable car, which was high for me. And we coasted along into the next little city that we went to, the town that we went to. So for me, that was adventurous because truthfully, that was May. And by July, it was prepping for the rest of the year, which has been kind of crazy. So that's all I got. Next year, hopefully I'll do some more adventurous. I'm definitely doing more adventurous stuff next year, as in topless beaches, letting my new breast breathe and going through all this nonsense.
I mean, traveling to London with a 3-year-old, that's pretty adventurous too. So I think you can check it both ways.
I appreciate you, Beef. Thank you. Let's see. So we talked about most ridiculous. We've talked about most adventurous. Do you have any regrets?
No, I was thinking about this one earlier. And I don't really, I mean, there's certainly things that you would want to do differently. Like you could, I wish I could go back and do that differently. But I don't know. It's so cliche to say like no regrets, but I mean, making mistakes is how you learn. So I can't really say I have any regrets of 2023 that I can name.
I would say it's a regret and, because I don't think they're mutually exclusive. So it's a regret and has turned into a blessing. My regret is that John and I didn't capitalize on an opportunity to do one more IVF cycle because we were in this limbo all year. And we didn't capitalize on it. We kept saying, you know what, we're going to do one more cycle. We're going to do one more cycle. We're going to do one more cycle. And in our defense, not that we need to be in our defense, but every month was something, like something would come up. And having now gone through IVF and IUI, you have to find a month where you're stationary because you have to go back to doctor's appointments. And every month it felt like there was something. So we just kept saying, next month, next month, next month. And then I got my diagnosis and then it's like, well, it ain't happening, this year. That's a regret that we didn't jump on it to at least give ourselves the opportunity to see what we may have had in the hopper at that time before my diagnosis happened. But I will say that the silver lining is that after my diagnosis, through surgery, and now going through the reconstruction and some of the setback that I just had recently with the staph infection and all of that drama, through that and through conversations with my oncology team who said, yeah, have a baby, but hurry up. We want your ovaries out by 45. Then talking to my OB, who's like, yeah, you can have another baby, but let's also consider all of these other things that would make you high risk. And through those conversations, John and I have found peace in our decision that we are done and that our family is complete, unless there's an oopsie in there. But the shop is closed. I'm going to do an oophorectomy and we are going to, our little unit of 3 is going to keep living life and maximizing it to its fullest. So the regret of not giving ourselves one more opportunity has now turned into helping us make the decision that our family is complete as is.
I love that.
Thank you.
I guess, yeah, I have the same regret, and I would call it a regret just because we finally found a fertility doctor that we liked and connected with this year. And I just feel like it was too late because we finally got the information and the conversation, the connection with her. And I think had we just gone through it, had like encouragement from the medical team to just do it, like go full bore in 2021 to do IVF, we might have a different situation right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we kept doing IUI. So now, like you, but for different reasons, there's just not an option because this doctor that I do really like, or we really like, has just said, I mean, you can do it, but your chances are so low that I don't know if it's worth the physical, the emotional investment. Your chances in IVF are not that much different than just getting pregnant naturally. So anyway, I am inspired by you and John coming to peace with this, and hopefully we can do the same in 2024 with our family.
Amen. I love it.
We have a couple more here that we've been ruminating on. What about something that you feel like you made progress on in 2023?
I feel like with my business, I made progress, that I have recurring clients and I am really trying to be more strategic about what it is that I want to do, especially going into 2024. I've really been considering like what my business is going to look like next year. Right now there's like an even split between speaking engagements and consulting work. And yeah, I want to say I made progress with really coming to terms with the fact that the speaking engagements are where I feel the most empowered.
Mm-hmm.
So I have made progress in really strategically figuring out, what I want to spend more time doing, what's my greatest work in the world. And so, yeah, I've made progress with that. It takes a couple years as an entrepreneur to rev up. And first you're just thinking like, I just have to get my name out there. I have to have brand recognition. I have to get my clients. And so once all those things are happening, it does take some discipline that I'm not always disciplined with, but taking a step back and saying what's working, what isn't working, and what can you do better? What should you eliminate? So I've really made a lot of progress on being strategic with what I want my business to look like going forward.
Yeah. And you don't have to share them now, but I feel like through that evolution or part of the evolution, you've come up with some new goals, right? New professional goals.
I have.
Sort of dreams that you're going to pursue.
Yes. I've set some really strong goals for myself that I'm looking forward to knocking upside the head next year.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peeve. Can I add one more thing that I've made progress on? I've made progress this year on allowing people to help. With LJ, and we've talked about this in other episodes, it's in your best interest to allow the people that love you the most to help you when you're a new mom or a new parent or you're going through anything new and your village is around you. Like, let us help you. Mm-hmm. And I've made progress on that because going through my cancer diagnosis with the double mastectomy and the surgeries and people being so amazingly supportive and encouraging and saying, how can we help? How can we help? I'm conditioned to say, I will let you know. And I really appreciate it. Thank you. I will let you know. And more often than not, I didn't always circle back with what people can do. I'm like, that's very sweet. I'm just going to kind of work through it. So I made progress in saying, yes, this is how I would feel the most supported. And I appreciate you. And even with John has been husband of the freaking year with everything and father of the freaking year with everything we've gone through. Mm-hmm. So definitely. Just allowing everybody to support my family. I get nervous to start naming names because when you leave someone's name out and there's like, they didn't say me. So just know that you are my people and how appreciative I am of all of you and how loved I felt. But it was progress to say, yes, please help me. And this is how I would feel the most supported.
That's big. That's a big one.
What about you, Peeve?
Something I made progress on, and I have to credit my little man, Everett, for this one, is just having more patience in general for everything. Mm. Certainly with parenting and with him, because as I've shared, he's challenged us the most, probably between like 2.5 and 4.5. And we've turned a corner recently and he's just so fun and a lot, quote unquote, easier right now. Yeah. And everything's a phase. So probably tomorrow it's going to get hard again. But I feel like we've hit a little bit of a stride in the last couple of months, but we had to work really hard to get there. And instead of in the beginning, I think we were just like banging up against it. And then we finally found some approaches and techniques that were working and it was slow progress, but it was making progress. And patience was a huge part of that. So he helped me hone that more than I had been. I'm just not a patient person in general. Like, I'm a go-getter. So if I want something to happen, I'm going to try to make it happen as soon as I can. And so it was just a good experience for me. And I mean, we're still in it, of course. We're still evolving as parents and he's growing. And so we're going to continue to need patience. But I would fall back on that sort of when I needed patience in other aspects of life. And I'm not saying I am 100% patient with everything all the time. Like, I think there's some relationships that like family and friendships that I could infuse more patience into, and it would probably help. But yeah, so I would just say patience is something I made progress on in 2023.
That's a really good one. Honestly, I could probably use more progress on the patience department. So you'll inspire me.
Yeah.
Whew. That was a good one.
What about something that we want to leave behind in 2023?
Breast cancer. Kick rocks.
Kick rocks.
Yeah, man. I will definitely leave this in 2023. Prayerfully, we don't have this tango ever again. I will gladly leave that behind. And I will take the silver lining of everything else, part of this journey, reminding myself of my resiliency. My mom has this saying, and I think I've shared it. Someone shared this with her during her first or second battle with breast cancer, but it said that we are like tea bags and we don't know our own strength until we are in hot water. And I love that because I'm like, yeah, you really don't know how strong you are until you're put to the test. Mm-hmm. So I will take the tests of my testimony. Thank you, Kali P. Brown, for that. I will keep using that. I will take that into 2024, which we'll talk more about later. But to leave in 2023 would be the cancer. It's gone. I am cancer free. And I want to leave all that here and keep it moving. What about you?
Yeah, I have a very distinct one too. So while we were living at our friend's house over the summer and then camping in our yard. I mean, it was probably a total of like 6 months all said and done that we weren't living under our own roof with our own space, just because of the way everything worked out, logistics. Brett and I did not sleep in the same bed. So I was supporting Everett at night. And so it was basically like me and Everett sleeping together. And then Brett would sleep in his own space, whether it was a different bedroom or in our yard, the van. It was really hard. And I know every couple is different. Like they have their own dynamic of their intimacy and closeness and how they share their home and their space. But for us, we've always really cherished the time that we have. Like we love our bedroom. We love our bed. We love being in it together. Like regardless of what we're doing. I mean, we could be watching like an SNL on our laptop, like before bed. Yeah. It doesn't have to be bumping and grinding. But
not bumping and grinding.
That would be nice too. But it was really hard on us. Like it felt like there was a separation between us because it was a physical separation and we just didn't even have the opportunity to be laying next to each other. And I really missed that. And I think Brett did too. And, we didn't dwell in it in the moment. We weren't like, this sucks, but it was always there. We were like, we're really looking forward to being back in our bedroom and being back in the same bed. And so we've only probably been back in the same bed a couple of weeks now, but it's been really nice. And I am very happy to leave that in 2023. I hope we don't ever have a reason to sleep separately for so long because I just didn't like it. It just wasn't us.
Meanwhile, I'm like, John, you need the TV on, the fan on, the music on. You got too much going on, brother. I'll see you in the morning.
Yeah.
No, but I love that. But I love that you're like, that's not your normal. And so now that you can leave that and get back into your new normal, being in your new digs, your renovated digs.
Yes.
I love that, PV.
Yeah. So we got through it. It was a necessary evil, I guess, but happy to not do that anymore.
Amen. Was there any, I guess along those same lines, like something you'd want to leave in 2023, which we shared, but to kind of build on that, were there any flaws of yours that were uncovered this year?
So many. I will say, like your mom said, when you're in hot water, you see how strong you are, but also all your flaws like to bubble up right to that surface and be like, hey, here I am. I mean, I got a lot. One, I would say, and this is going to feed into probably a parenting conversation that I hope that we can have in the future. But it's definitely a flaw of mine. And I know that this comes up for lots and lots of parents. So I don't feel necessarily badly about it. Like there's something wrong with me, but I would definitely like to improve it. And that is in the toddler years, we are constantly, as parents, asking our kids to regulate their emotions and to figure out how to stay calm, not necessarily not feel emotions, because I know there's been a lot of work in our more modern parenting generation where, we're like, feel your feelings. It's great. But we still don't want the kids to kirk out every 5 seconds. So, we're trying to help them feel the feelings, but regulate them and move past them, come to peace with them, calm themselves down. And there have been so many moments in this year where I cannot regulate my emotions. Like my anger is right there at the surface. My frustration, I raise my voice. I can't handle all the things that are happening at the same time, and I'm like, it's really sobering to look in the mirror and be like, I can't even do the thing that I'm asking my 4-year-old to do. I have a little bit more sympathy for him and all toddlers. Like, it's hard to do this stuff when your brain is not fully developed. It's hard to do it when your brain is fully developed. So that is something I definitely consider a flaw. And I feel like Everett and I are learning together, like as I'm trying to coach him and guide him through regulating his emotions and processing all those big feelings and how to manage them in a healthy way. I'm like, let me take some of this advice and do this for myself too. Like, mommy needs a minute. I'm going to go in the other room. I'm going to get my shit together and then I'll come back and we can talk about this. Yeah, it's been sobering.
I love that. Yeah, I know this is another conversation, but you saying we're asking our toddlers to control and to regulate their emotions. And Lord knows, then when I'm at 10, it's like gloves are off. Come on, kid, we're going toe to toe. You want to do this today? We're going to do it. So yes, I thank you for putting that into perspective. Oh, that's a good one, Peeve. I feel like the same thing. I've uncovered quite a few flaws and I've had a lot of downtime to think since I've been in the, in the house healing and stuff. I would say the flaw that I will highlight for the sake of this discussion would be, I don't know how to sit still.
This is a new discovery?
Girl, no, but I guess it was highlighted. Girl, trying to call me out, PV, because you're right. That's not a new discovery. I think everybody knows I don't know how to sit still. But it really came into clearer focus when you're forced to sit still. There's beauty in stillness, but that is hard. People are like, oh, you shouldn't meditate. I'm like, should I? Yeah, it sounds nice.
Yeah, can I probe this a little bit? Like, what is hard about it?
It is hard for me to shut my brain off.
Right. So I'm trying to dig a little deeper. So you don't like sitting with your thoughts for too long?
I don't think that it's that I don't like being at one with my thoughts. I think that I have racing thoughts. And so when you're in a situation where you're used to being busy, and I use air quotes when I say busy, because oftentimes it's a rat race. You're just running around and sometimes you're not even necessarily being productive, but you feel like you're tricking yourself into thinking that you're being productive because you're constantly on the go. Mm-hmm. When you are forced to sit and not really move, it forces you to, I don't want to say find ways to entertain yourself, but there's only so much television you can watch. There are only so many books that you can read. I was struggling with how to just sit still. I have a lot of thoughts that I probably do need to dig into. I need to talk to my therapist and talk to her more. But I guess I would say, have you ever had someone tell you just to sit? Think about how active you are. You're not exercising. You're limited in your mother duties into how much you can pick up your child, how much you can snuggle your child because you have drains and you're sore and all of that. People are telling you, take advantage of all the love and care you have and just sit still, just relax. And it's like, that sounds delightful. How do you do that?
Yeah.
For months. I want to say it's a flaw because there is a book called Rest is Resistance. It's like a manifesto on how rest is resistant to this culture of having to go that's rooted in a lot of racism, really. But I don't want to get all into that deepness. There's a lot going on. I'll drop that book in the show notes. Mm-hmm. But this is my long-winded way of saying, as I'm thinking, as I'm just talking, as I'm thinking, I think there's a flaw in my inability to just be. Mm-hmm. And to say, it's okay not to have something going on. Like my version of busy and success and feeling fulfilled, that's all rooted in this narrative that I have to do something. Mm-hmm. So when you can't necessarily do the things that you've always done or that you've been conditioned to do to feel like you're doing something, it's, I think, a flaw to not be able to just sit in solitude.
Yeah, it's hard. I think that it's different too because it wasn't a choice. It's not like you're like, I'm going to go on a meditation retreat. I'm going to voluntarily for a week be still. It was like, this is something you have to do so you can get healthy. So it's a little different because you want to be doing all these other things and you're told you can't. So I think in your case, it's a forced stillness that maybe is the hard part. It might all be hard, whether it's voluntarily or forced, but
yeah,
I could see it being extra hard to be still when it's a forced situation.
Yeah. But I also think there's flaw in there that I have to acknowledge because whether it's a day, a week, or a month, I feel like it should have come a little easier.
Yeah. This reminds me of like a few different things. One is that saying like, I'll sleep when I'm dead or I'll rest when I'm dead. You know, like
Right.
it's human nature to, if you can do things, you want to be doing them, you know? So it is kind of going against that grain to say, even though I could be doing all these things, I'm going to sit here and do nothing or, you know, rest or meditate or whatever it is.
It's hard.
Let's see. We have a couple more here. Do you have like a really cherished memory from 2023 or a few? Because, you know, like we said, it was challenging, a lot of hardships, but there's always, little beautiful moments.
The first one that comes to mind for me is, and maybe we can popcorn these because they're going to keep popping up, you know? Mm-hmm. But one that comes to mind is my brother, James, my sister-in-law, Katie, and my niece, Maya, we call her Mai, who's 9. They came to visit a couple weeks ago. And it was beautiful to have LJ and Maya just spend first cousin time together because they love each other. They're like equally as obsessed with each other. But of course, my family lives in Maryland. So a lot of the time that they spend together is on FaceTime. And LJ's 3. So he's going to talk to you on FaceTime for maybe 2 seconds. And then he's off counting and dancing.
Right.
But watching the two of them interact was beautiful. It was very sweet because my brother and his wife had some time to like leave Maya with John and me, and so that they could go spend their anniversary and my brother's birthday. And then also provided an opportunity for LJ and Maya to just love on each other as cousins. And it was so stinking cute and adorable to watch them love on each other. So that's top of mind for me because they just left a couple weeks ago. So that's one of the beautiful moments. I'll popcorn it to you, Peeve, and then I have several, actually. From this crazy year, I have several beautiful moments. So.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad. One of mine is I have 2 family members that are battling cancer right now. So we had an opportunity to go back to Maine in July to my aunt and uncle's house. And we kind of had a mini family reunion while we were there. So I got to see both of my family members who were battling cancer and lots of other family members too. So I really cherished that whole trip from 2023 because, as you know, like you never know what the next year is going to bring. And specifically, I spent all my summers in Maine on the farm with my aunt and uncle and my cousins and my grandparents. And, you know, we were just little wild farm children in the summertime. And it was just really sweet and meaningful to see Everett sitting on a tractor with my uncle Dennis and my cousin Jonathan and then his kids. Like it was kind of one of those full circle moments where you're like, I did this as a kid and now my kid is doing it. The same hay fields, the same tractors. I'll just always cherish that we had that time with my aunt and uncle and my cousins and that Everett got to experience that. And he had a blast. He loved every minute of it. And he was so sweet with all of the family that he like had just met, you know, that week. He just felt the love and gave the love. And it was really sweet. So I'm really glad we got to do that.
I love that. Oh, it is full circle because you're looking at your little mini me in the same place, doing the same things that you did as a mini PV. Mm-hmm. It brings it full circle. Like this whole podcast, Blankets of Mother, it is through the lens of motherhood that we see all of these things that we may not have seen necessarily before.
2023 was a mother.
Yeah, it was. I would say a beautiful, I mean, this is kind of high level, but even through everything that was going on with me and healing and surgery and everything, I still got to spend a lot of time with family. My parents made, I don't know how many trips here throughout the year. They are the cutest. I'm biased, but they are the cutest. So even watching them interact with LJ, just how present they are with me as their 43-year-old baby. Mm-hmm. I talk about this a lot just in general, but how to maximize our dash here in this world, you know? And I think I may have said it on an episode, but we really don't have control over when we come into this world. We have our birthday, and then we all have a date where we go where we leave this earth. Wherever we think we're going, different beliefs, we leave this earth one day. There are some circumstances people know when they're leaving, but I'm speaking generally. We don't know when we're leaving this earth.
Mm-hmm.
So when we look at our headstones, you have your birth date and your homegoing date, and you have the dash in between the two of them. And so I really think that this year has brought into focus how to maximize my dash, because I don't know what that other date is. None of us know what that other date is. So I think a lot of it is finding the beauty in any and everything that we can, and how do we maximize our dash between our two dates. And so for me this year, a lot of maximizing that dash has been taking my goggles off and and having this myopic focus on, oh shit, I have to go through this cancer stuff, and saying, well, you know what? The fact that you're here to even go through it is a blessing, because I've lost a lot of family members to this disease and other diseases. So the suck means that you're still alive. Mm-hmm. And so seeing my parents here and having my brother and his family here, having you come in from California and loving on me, and I mean, all of those things, and having Tiff come and you guys were here and overlapped, and having all the conversations with our Longwood friends and Oakland Mills friends and family. And just, it is a reminder that we are not in control of anything other than how we choose to spend our days and our minutes and our seconds. So I think that's high level, but that really came into focus for me this year.
Yeah. You got to forcefully carve out time to have quality time with all those people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have another one, and it kind of relates back to what I made progress on in 2023, which was patience, because I was very, very eager to have Everett and my sister connect on a really meaningful level, because I mean, we see my family, I wouldn't say often, but we see them every year, at least once or twice a year. But it's always like with some sort of chaos or an event or a vacation, or Everett's sick, or, it's just always like a bunch of things out of our control. And I wouldn't say it's just like quality time. You're just kicking it, kind of like what you just described that you had.
Mm-hmm.
And so just last month, both Brett and I were out of town at the same time. And so my mom and my sister came to our rescue, and both came and spent a week with Everett, and, just they were in his space, in his house, did his day-to-day stuff, took him to school, took him to karate, took him to swim class, took him out to eat, just did all the things, got on the floor and played with him. My sister and he, they hadn't seen each other since February. So it had been a while. And this is why I was so anxious. I want you guys, they change so fast. Mm-hmm. And it is such a awesome time. They're coming into their own, and they're getting their personalities, and all these things are coming out. And you just want the people you love to see those parts of your baby, because, you're like, he's so amazing, but you just kind of have to experience it to really know. Because I'm so close to my sister, and I'm so close to my nieces, her kids, I couldn't wait for that to happen, and this was the perfect opportunity to have that be. Brett and I were totally gone, and it was just focused time for them to, kind of like what you were just saying with LJ and Maya. Mm-hmm. So it was beautiful, because Everett hadn't seen his Aunt Heather for many months, but he was very excited for her to come. And then as soon as they were in the presence of each other, it was like soulmates. They just were so connected and bonded, and they are similar in a lot of ways, actually. My sister showed Everett all the old 80s cartoons with the Transformers and He-Man and Care Bears, and now you would think that Everett grew up in the 80s like we did, because they bonded. And yeah, it was just awesome. I look forward to watching it grow over the years, because I know that they're going to be besties. So,
aw, and that's a beautiful thing to carry into 2024. Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking, it's just nostalgic. It's interesting. Even through all of the stuff that happened, there's still so many
good parts,
sweet, genuine, beautiful moments in it, for sure.
Do you have any more?
I would say a cherished memory is, and this is again high level enough, but really watching LJ come into his own. God, that kid has a personality on him. He is coming into his own. And I will share this. This is a cherished memory in that I was a little nervous about how LJ would react to me not being able to like pick him up and snuggle him the same way and hold him the same way because I physically just couldn't.
Yeah.
And we kind of coached him through that. Like, mommy has a boo-boo. And so you have to be very what? Gentle. Yeah, you have to be very gentle. He knows all the words. I'm like, you can say gentle. Are you going to act gently, when we're used to kind of roughhousing? And God, he's been amazing. Even the other day, he was like, can mommy pick me up? And I said, mommy still can't pick you up yet. He's, well, can you hold my hand? I said, yeah, we can hold our hand and we can walk. And so even just watching him understand that our dynamic has shifted a little bit, but still being as flexible and resilient as he can be at 3.5, and how empathetic. I'm trying to put it into words because it's just been how about this? It put my heart at ease because I was like, I don't want our dynamic to change. It's going to change, but he's my cuddle bug and I don't want him to feel like I'm neglecting him or that maybe he won't feel as connected to me because we can't cuddle the way that we have and I can't climb in his bed. But just seeing how he has been resilient and how quickly he's adjusted to loving me and allowing me to love him in different ways has been a cherished memory. Because I've also seen him kind of grow into a big boy. I haven't picked him up and held him and cuddled him like that now in 2 months. And he's come to not expect that. And first that was going to make me a little sad because I'm like, oh, but I still wanted him to want me to pick him up. And now we just find other ways to do it. So long-winded way of saying that a cherished memory has been me watching LJ come into his own and us finding new ways to love each other.
That is so sweet. And I got to see a little bit of that when I was there, like your dynamic through all this. And I'm sure, it was like a growth period for both of you because up until that point, you were caring for LJ. And then he got to kind of have this little big boy role where I get to care for mommy, like I get to make sure she's okay. And he's a smart little boy. He is very thoughtful and empathetic. And so I think that was really sweet. Oh, his little cry in the background.
I know. And what you said is going to make me tear up. I hate to cry. We're not going to do this. But, oh, damn it.
You got to feel better.
I know. Yeah, he got to take care of mommy. Mm-hmm. He knows that sunflowers are my favorite flowers because, I say that all the time. So just a couple of days ago, my mom took him to Publix. And when he came in, he had 2 balloons and sunflowers. And he's like, he was so excited to hand me the flowers and the balloons. I'm like, thanks, buddy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I love the way you said that. And he's now had an opportunity to grow and to love on me.
Yeah. And I mean, as you know, this happens throughout our whole lives. Like there's lots of moments where you're like, okay, it's my turn to take care of my parents now. Like they have taken care of me in all of these different phases and time frames. And as early as 3.5, you got to take care of your parents sometimes.
Man, John's saying is once a parent, twice a child in life. You come in as a child and you become a parent and an adult. And then at some point you need your kids to help take care of you when you get older or maybe not as mobile, maybe not as whatever. And so he always says, it's once a parent, twice a child in life. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
it's true. And I will say also through that cherished memory and those moments with LJ, I've also seen John and LJ's bond develop even more. With me having to forcefully take a step back, it's also created space for John and LJ to come into their own and develop their own routines as well.
I have one last one. I know we got to wrap this up. I have one last one. And
no, do it.
You kind of set it up for me already. And it was because you described watching LJ kind of come into his own this year as a toddler. Side note, I have to say, I don't think Everett is a toddler anymore. They say there's that saying like you have a baby for 4 years and then you don't. And I think we're definitely in that space where he's just like a little kid now. So we might have to change our intro because he's not a toddler anymore.
Oh.
But what I will cherish and always look back fondly on is watching my husband Brett come into his own because not into his own. He's obviously got a very strong identity in life, but part of his identity had been a winemaker for many, many years. And he was very, very good at it. He was super passionate, respected, but lots of reasons why that career was just not going to work for our family and work for him. But I did see him really step out of his comfort zone and think about, I have to change my career entirely. That's hard to do midlife, to change your career and start something brand new from almost from scratch. So he's in wealth management, and it's just been really awesome to see him take the challenge head on and take initiative. And I really have appreciated watching him go through this growth and this journey. And I also really love seeing him now in a company that values him. So yeah, I will cherish this year, as hard as it has been to support a partner through a career change, not having two incomes for some of the months, things like that during a home renovation while you're camping in your yard. It's also been really awesome to see, and I am really proud of him.
Oh, I love that. I love that. 2024, you kept using the word stretch, but like all of the things that we've been stretching ourselves on with, however you want to say that this year, man, I feel like it's just teeing us up for a dynamic 2024. Not to say there are not going to be challenges. Of course there are, such as life, right? But I think that this year is just teeing us up for all the blessings that are around the corner that we're going to walk into. I'm excited about 2024. I'm excited about the unknown, blessings, and perhaps challenges that are coming in 2024. But saddle up. We'll get ready for it. Take these blessings into it.
Well, I did want to, before we wrap up or while we're wrapping up, say we've gotten so much feedback from all of the conversations that we've shared in 2023, which has been awesome, heartwarming, has made us think about conversations that we can have that will resonate with people who are listening in our community. But we've also gotten some requests, I guess, to kind of hear more conversations like the one we had today, which is just kind of digging into our like personal lives and who we are as people. And so we're not going to reveal what we have in store, but we have been thinking about a few different elements that we can add to the podcast. In addition to our hour-long conversations, which thank you for those of you who actually listened to it, a whole hour of us
rambling.
But we have some new fun things in store in 2024 for Blank is a Mother podcast. So stay tuned.
That's right. Thank you all for being a part of this journey with us this year. This has been a passion project turned into just, I don't know, it's such an awesome experience. And so we are thankful for you all tuning in and just being that part of our community, being our community. So thank you for all of your love and support and encouragement this year. And we hope you'll continue on this ride with us into 2024 as we keep on digging into the stuff that makes our hearts happy, makes us think. And just thank you for being on this road with us. Peeve, thank you for being the best partner in crime with this whole journey, because we're putting a lot of our business out there in these streets, as people say. But you are ride or die.
Yep. And I don't know if I really could do it with many other people than you. So thank you for being next to me in this vulnerability state that we are in.
That we are. But it's, something that we can have and cherish and share with our boys when they get older. So I love it.
They will laugh if they find the time to look back and listen to these conversations.
For sure.
You can find us at _is-a-mother podcast on Instagram. Of course, all the podcast streaming platforms. And
that's right.
We have really, really appreciated all of the reviews and the ratings. Please keep them coming. It really does help new people discover these conversations and join the community, join the conversation. Yeah, one piece of feedback we've gotten from a few different people is that, they like listening because they just feel like they're sitting at a coffee shop with us and talking with their girlfriends. And that's exactly what we were hoping for. So yeah, let's keep keeping on.
Keep this party going into 2024. Love you all. Thank you so much. I hope you all have had a memorable 2023. Good memories, bad memories, but nonetheless, they're all memories and they're all going to make us into who we continue to be on this earth and into 2024. So I hope you have a memorable 2023.
Love you, Jay.
Love you, Peeve.
Okay. Hey, go call your best friend.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening and being part of our conversation and our inner circle.
Follow us on Instagram, _It's a Mother Podcast. And we look forward to you and your best friends joining us next episode.
Leave a rating on this podcast app. It really helps us get our conversations to more friends out there, more friendship circles, and more women and more mothers. And that's what we're here for, to broaden the conversation, to bring everybody into the circle.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.
Go call your best friend.